Hey, what is up, folks? Zerofats here, coming at you with another money making tip. You know, when I started this channel for the second time, that's right, because I had this channel up and running before and it was doing pretty good. I had over 1,000 subscribers. It was working its way up, but I got it shut down. So I had to reboot it. And when I said I was going to start it up this second time, I said I want to put more emphasis on saving money as well as just making independent dollars, because honestly it doesn't matter how much money you can make if you can't save it. I mean, if it just floats through your fingers and it just slips right through your fingers, man, you're never going to be successful. I mean, you're always going to be like, man, how the hell did I end up broke again? What in the world is going on? So I wanted to talk about one aspect of that idea of why some people can't save money. And one thing that affected my family was something called generational poverty. So the idea behind generational poverty is that, you know, at least 3 generations of your family was poor. That means you were poor, your mama was poor, and your grandma was poor. I mean, you basically got almost all living relatives of your family that have been poor. And, you know, that being what it is, I mean, you basically haven't had access to the same education. You've been affected by viewpoints. You've been surrounded by a culture, so to speak, that is going to affect how you see things. It's going to affect how you see authority. It's going to affect how you approach money. It's going to affect how you approach school. It's going to affect all kinds of things. It's going to affect how you react in social situations. So you got that. You got generational poverty, and that's a thing. Okay. So I want to talk to you about a couple other things here. One is purchasing power. Okay. So you got people with generational poverty and people who are poor, and you know, a lot of things that happens with people who are poor is you know, they don't feel like they have a lot of control. Whether it's conscious or whether it's subconscious, you don't feel like you have a lot of control. You don't have a lot of money, so you don't have a lot of control. You don't have a lot of power to do much. So you think about that, right? And you take that right here, and then let's take something else. Take this idea of purchasing power. Okay? Whenever you have money, you have this power. You have this power to purchase. Okay? So now you take people who don't have a lot of money, and then whenever they get money, they tend to nickel and dime it away. Why? Why? Because of purchasing power. Every time they go to buy something, they have some power. They have some control. They have the choice of buying this or buying that or not buying anything. And usually it's never we don't buy anything. It's usually always we buy something. And then we figure out, hey, we like that power. We like to buy things. So what happens is you don't have a lot of money, so what you do is you nickel and dime the money you have away. You make as many purchases as you can with the amount of money that you have, and you end up flat broke at the end of the week or at the end of the month or whatever. So that's purchasing power, and then that's generational poverty. And the other thing I want to talk about is buyer's remorse. You know, the idea of, you know, after you buy something, it's like that sense of regret. You know, after you buy it, like you made the wrong decision. You know, for people who are in poverty and people who are suffering from generational poverty, buyer's remorse is just a fact of life, because you're always going to have buyer's remorse, because no matter what you were buying, generally you didn't need it. You know, generally you were just nickel and diming money away. You know, you get that $3,000 or $4,000 income tax check, and then like 2 months later it's gone, and you're like, you have like heavy buyer's remorse, and you're like, what in the world did I do with all that money? It's gone. I don't have nothing to show for it. So the reason why I'm talking about all this is because we're talking about saving money, okay? And the thing about it is, knowledge is power, and you guys all know that. And if you understand what's happening, you know, it's not necessarily your fault that you're blowing all your money. I mean, you're a victim of this generational poverty. It's affected how you view money. It's affected all kinds of things. But if you're aware of it, I mean, if you're aware that, hey, this is what's happening. I'm nickeling and diming my money away because it gives me a sense of power. Okay? And I feel like I need that sense of power because I'm poor, and I've always been poor. My whole family's poor. My grandparents were poor. Okay? So I've always had this sense of a lack of control and the lack of power. And this purchasing power, it gives me some of that control and some of that power, and that's why I'm nickel and diming my money away. Now, if you can realize that's happening, then maybe you can stop that from happening. You can start saving your money. You know, stop spending it on bullshit. Put it in the bank. Save it. The thing about generational poverty and poverty that's lasted many years like that is that it's hard to break that cycle. That cycle of poverty is hard to break. But you can do it. Use your mind. Use your mind to break that cycle of poverty. If you understand what's happening, then you can defeat it. Okay? So that's my message for you today. Understand what's happening and work to defeat it. It's all about this idea and this illusion of having power when you have a little bit of money in your pocket. And then you take that power and you dwindle it away because you like that feeling of control. So you purchase, make little tiny purchases all over the place so you can have that feeling of power. You really don't have power. The only way you're going to have real power and real control is if you can put that money in the bank and leave it. Just leave it and let it build up and build up your assets. That's what you really need to work on doing. Now, you take that knowledge, okay? You take that and you get together any other saving tips you can find, and I'll put some more up here on ways to hold on to your money. And you take that on one hand, right? And then you work on producing assets and producing revenue through sheer determination and sheer desire to do so. And you will become successful. Those two things. Save your money, make your money. Save your money, make your money. I don't mean rent your time out to an employer. I mean, sky's the limit, make your money yourself. Independent financial income is what I'm talking about. You're never going to become a millionaire, you know, working for somebody else. I mean, you might, but chances are, if you could become a millionaire, it's going to be because you're working for yourself. That's my opinion. That's my take on it. These are things that have worked for me because I came from rock bottom, moving on up. So now I'm no millionaire by any means. I'm not claiming to be, but I will say I have my goals set lofty, and I will say I'm moving up, and I will say these things have worked for me. So educate yourself, work on it, keep fighting. You guys can do it. If you like this video, please subscribe. And if you like my channel, hey, thanks a lot. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you all. I'll catch up with you next video. Peace.